to another live conversations. Woohoo! Right, today I am with the amazing Samantha Hatcher, and I will ask her to introduce herself in just a moment. But these conversations are part of the Show Up and Shine Social Media Visibility Challenge. We just finished one in July and we are on to another great start for the August cohort. It has been amazing. Right. Okay. Samantha, how are you?
I am great. How are you?
I'm all right. I'm all right. Well, what time is it where you are?
It is 3 o'clock in the afternoon.
3 o'clock in the afternoon, and it's 8 p.m. for me. So hey.
We're on the opposite side of the pond.
Literally. So, Samantha, tell us a bit about you. Who is Samantha?
Well, to describe the hats that I wear, I am a mom of 7, kids ranging from 25 down to 6. Just completed in my 21st year of homeschooling, have graduated 3 of the 7 children. By the time I am done, I will have teenagers in my house for 30 consecutive years. So you can pray for me, and that is just fine. My focus is to help parents connect with their kids and then to connect families to Jesus. So I do that with the well-led parenting program.
Okay, okay. I like this modest introduction. So, tell us a bit more about Samantha. What other hats do you wear?
Um, I am the president of a local Kiwanis Club.
Mhm.
I am on a journey of learning how to be a grant writer. I have an apprenticeship with her name is Jocelyn Van Coney, and she has been amazing to help me with that. I am part of the John Maxwell team. I have mentorship under my belt and the family and parenting certification.
Wow. Awesome, awesome, awesome. So, you didn't say you had like one child, two kids. You
Oh, I
said,
have 7. I thought I said I had 7.
yes, you did. I'm just teasing you there.
Okay, I was like, I have 7.
Like, let's
5
get it
boys,
right.
2 girls.
You got seven.
Hmm.
How do you cope with seven kids? I've got one. That's like a handful.
Well, if I can be blunt and honest here, in some ways, 7 is easier than 1. Because, especially when they're little, I am not the person that has to play with them all the time. They have siblings to play with.
Okay.
I
Okay.
don't have to keep them entertained. Now, as they get older and they have more opinions and drama, there's just so much drama as they're learning to manage life.
Mhm.
Um, I can see how 7 is harder than having 1 because it's just one bit of drama instead of drama from all different places. And I have a couple of them who are neurodivergent, so that takes things to a whole other level.
Wow.
I guess what it comes down to is in John Maxwell's book, The 21 Laws of Leadership, the law of the lid. I know he's talking about business, but that is all about parenting. I'm going to tell you, it is all about parenting. And the more that I've lifted my lid as a parent, the more growth my children have had. And my life has expanded in beautiful ways.
Mhm.
And my children listen to me more than they ever did. And they come to me for advice instead of going to their peers.
I like that. I like that.
So
That's
it's
good
good.
because I think parents struggle to get to that place where they have relationship with their kids. So that's really good that your kids can, they trust you and they come to you. They have that relationship where they can share stuff with you. So that's amazing.
It's been very interesting to see when I've especially taking my oldest daughter places with me. She is part of the Maxwell team as well. And when people meet her, they're like, "You're older than I expected you to be," because she looks young and
Oh.
she's cute. But then they see our relationship and they talk about how strange our relationship is. And for us, it's like, it's no big deal. It's just the way our relationship is. But my daughter and I don't argue over little things.
Hmm.
We little things that most people argue over. Nope, doesn't happen. If we have an argument, it's because one person has done something unintentionally and hurt the other.
Oh wow.
And
Okay.
so there's a moment of, you've upset me. We need to deal with this. And we've learned to, you know, we've learned if we're going to be disrespectful, we step away and then we come back and we deal with it. And there's a lot in that that has developed over time. But it came down to my relationship with her is more important
Mm-hmm.
than me being right. And my kids will tell you the word they hate hearing the most from me is okay. And there's a little nod with that, and they know that means I'm going to get some popcorn and I'm going to watch you and you're going to make a mistake. And they'll look at me and they'll say, I hate it when you do that because I know you're right, but I want to be right, but I know you're right. So having little cues like that, that's not, you're an idiot and I can't believe you would think that way, and allowing them to have space to make the mistakes, but not just make the mistakes, but to know that they can come back and mom is not going to beat them over the head for their dumb mistakes because they know my dumb mistakes. That is the other thing I would tell you about parenting. You cannot hide your stupid from your kids. They know.
Really?
Really.
So, so if I was, yeah, because I mean, you have 7 kids, so I would say you're somewhat of a parenting expert because yeah, you got 7. So if I was to ask you, what are some of your top tips for parents? So maybe we can say 3, 4 top tips for parents. What would you say?
Mm. Teach your children how to think, not what to think.
Ooh, that is good. That is good. Okay,
Because
okay.
otherwise, they're going to follow the crowd.
Mm,
And in the world that we're living in, where one minute you say something and that makes you a hater, and yeah, they need to be able to think for themselves. To get their self-worth grounded in truth, which is from God.
mm,
Because if you get yourself, let's put it this way, I can be having a great day and then I have a headache come on and I'm not as nice of a person. And so my emotions can be all over the place. I'm human.
mm-hmm.
And men have emotions too, and we can be all over the place. But if who you are is grounded in what God says about you, then that changes everything. So that means that, like my 10-year-old daughter, I've told her there's going to be boys who, no matter how old they are, going to behave like boys, and they're going to tell you you're ugly or you're stupid because you don't like them.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not true. And since she was little, she would say, I'm beautiful. Well, what makes you say you're beautiful? Because God made me beautiful. And nobody told her that. She just knew it.
I like
It
that.
was a very powerful thing. And I think the third thing, can I have one more?
Yeah, go on.
Okay. Third thing is listen more than you talk. You're not going to know what's going on in their head if you're talking all the time.
Okay.
So you need to not, you need to think, I need to teach, I need to teach, I need to teach. Well, they could have it almost right, but
Mm-hmm.
with a little misunderstanding, and you're not going to know that unless they tell you. And we've had all kinds of conversations about God with our kids that we didn't realize they were misunderstanding, or they thought something was in the Bible and it wasn't.
Mm-hmm.
Because instead of teaching them, we asked them questions and got them to use their voice. And the last thing is, I allow my kids to tell me no. I teach boundaries. And the way it works is this: you can tell me no, but that doesn't mean there's not consequences.
Okay.
See, I homeschool my kids, and my kids will say, I don't want to do my schoolwork. That's fine. But when game time comes around, like video game time, because they get some of that every day, did you do your schoolwork? Nope. Well, there's your answer. I don't want to eat. What's for dinner? Well, when you ask for ice cream later, there's no ice cream. And it is, if my children can tell me no, then they can tell other people no.
Mm,
They get that space where I can tell mom no, and mom's not going to scream at me, mom's not going to hurt me. So they build confidence to tell other people no. And you think, well, that's not a big deal. Well, what if your daughter is being pressured by her boyfriend? What if your son is being pressured to take drugs? What if horrible situations I've heard about where public school teachers do horrible things to kids, or anybody, somebody from church? Your children need the power to say no, and to know that in that saying no, they can come back to you. So having those boundaries is vital, and you have to realize that you are the testing ground, your boot camp. Your kids are going out to war, and you are boot camp for them.
I like that. I like that because the I guess the impression I'm getting, or the overarching theme I'm getting, is empower your children.
Yes.
That's really what I'm getting from your style of parenting, is about empowering your children. And I really love that, especially what you said about like allowing your child to say no,
Mhm.
because that no is necessary when they're in the outside world.
Yes.
And for us as parents, we don't want them to say no.
Mhm.
We actually don't. I I remember we had a situation with Janaya where we encourage her to like be confident and speak her mind, and one time all of a sudden we asked her to do something and she came and said no. I looked at her, I gave her the look, Dad looked at her. We were like, where did this come from? Why you just say? And she was so bold and confident with it. I was like, how do you deal with this? Because it wasn't even like I was asking her, like it was just outright no.
Mhm.
And we had to we had to come to that place of understanding that don't shut down her no,
Mhm.
because she then had an incident at nursery. So she's 4. She had an incident at nursery and we needed her to say no. So we were like, we can't be telling her not to say no, yet we
Mhm.
need her to say no when certain things happen in nursery.
Right.
So we encouraged her to say no, especially when those things are happening at nursery. And I remember having a conversation with her teacher, and her teacher was like, we were discussing a situation that had happened. And just to give a little brief on the situation, it was such that there was someone that she plays with a lot, and this person was refusing her from playing with other kids. And these are
Mm.
4-year-olds. And I was like, you need to tell him no. You need to tell that person no so that you can go and play with other kids, because his influence wasn't the best.
Right.
And so we had to tell her to say no. So when I spoke to her teacher was like, actually, I've had Janaya saying no a lot more now. I was like, thank you, Lord. So finding that balance. And I love it
Mhm.
because when we empower our kids, yes, we're encouraging them to have a voice and we're setting them up for the outside world, but we as parents need to allow that voice
Mhm.
and not shut down the voice. So, what would you say to a parent, I guess, who is at that stage where, like, for example, you might have teenage kids and the teenage kids are just like, they don't want to listen, they don't want to know. What would you say to a parent who's in that situation?
First off, take a breath. You gave me that question and it's like, whoa, breathe. I have to remind myself to breathe. Because when somebody does that, it's like being attacked almost.
Hmm.
And so you have to stop and you have to breathe, be enough aware enough to do that. And then this goes back to the point before that, which is ask more questions than you talk, listen more than you talk. Why are they saying no? Something is going on. For example, my number 6, one day he's just like, I don't like macaroni and cheese today. What do you mean you don't like it today? Well, it tastes funny in my mouth today and I really don't like it. Okay, we can go with that. He decided that, and honestly, it came down to that he has a thing with food looking funny. If it looks funny, he doesn't want to even try it. We've been working with him on it. Because in our house, it's either eat or starve because I am not an a la carte chef.
Mm-hmm.
But he doesn't like cooked vegetables, but he loves them raw.
Okay.
And so I will serve him the exact same thing, but raw. Like, if that's what you want, he's still eating the vegetables. It requires me to keep control of myself.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the most important question that I have asked myself, and I have no idea where I got it from, but if I was in this situation and I was the child, how would I have wanted my parents to react?
Wow.
How
Okay.
did they react? How would I have wanted them to react?
Mm.
And, about 50% of the time, my parents reacted the right way. And, they're human. And the other half, they didn't react the way that I needed them to.
Mm.
And that's the thing. When you're dealing with a child, it is how that child needs it. My 10-year-old, my number 5, I think I hardly have to lay a hand on her.
Mm.
You tell her that she's done something wrong, and the next thing you know, she's a sobbing mess, and she's like, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to. And my boys are going to look at you like, I don't think so. Like, let's do some push-ups, buddy. You got enough energy? Let's do some push-ups and do some calisthenics, and we're going to work that energy out of you and maybe the attitude with it as well. But it is that thing of pulling myself in instead of reacting and
Mm.
giving myself that pause so I can respond.
I
And
like.
respond with questions, not with you're wrong, I'm right, I've lived longer than you, or the guilt trip of I'm just trying to protect you and I don't want you to get hurt. Okay, we're not talking about car surfing or running in the street naked or doing drugs. We're not talking about those things. We're talking about things that are going to knock them on their rear end
Mm.
and it's going to knock some sense into them. That's the kind of thing that you kind of have to coach instead of parent.
Okay. So every parent needs some sort of coaching skills.
Yes, they do. Well, as they get older, and I'm gonna tell you something, my 6-year-old, everything is why, why, why. And eventually I get to because I said so. But why? Maybe it's
Interesting.
because I'm older, but sometimes it's just hard. So while I may have experience, and I mean I do, I have 21 years of experience of 24 hours a day, 7 days a week with kids. My
Mm.
kids don't go to school. They are with me all the time. And even the ones who are at work, I have had messages pop like in this 18 minutes that we've been together, I have had 15 messages pop across my phone from either one of my kids or my husband or a client or a friend. It's like all the time. I just have a rule of I don't answer my phone in the bathtub and I don't take phone conversations while I'm using the restroom because that's my space. Like, I don't love you enough for that. Go away.
That's Samantha time. Oh wow. And do you know what? Let's have that homeschooling conversation because you just mentioned how yes, you're with your kids 24/7.
Mm-hmm.
You don't get to send them off to a school somewhere and have a bit of a breathe. No, it's literally you're with them. I guess what's your homeschooling journey been like? Why do you homeschool?
Well, it started off that my oldest was able to read and comprehend the King James Bible at 3. We opened the Bible on his lap and he was reading John 1:1. He goes, in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was God, and the Word became flesh. And he goes, the Word's Jesus, right? We're both going, okay. First off, he can read. Secondly, he understands what he's reading. We have a problem. So by the time he was 4, he was adding and subtracting in his head. By the time he was 6, he was multiplying, dividing, and doing exponents and square roots in his head.
Oh my days.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
And so he was just really smart. But he was bored easily. And we're pretty sure he was ADHD.
Mm-hmm.
And so where we were at, they were like, yeah, either you need to put him on medicine or homeschool him. So we're like, okay, we're going to homeschool. And it was a good thing because my next child had a form of dyslexia that we had to deal with. And it started off as a journey of helping my kids grow in their weakness and let them grow where they were in their strengths at the same time.
Mm.
Because I'm all for focusing on the strengths, but then shoring out the weakness. So for my daughter, she didn't actually read on her own well and fluently until she was 13.
Oh wow.
But I read to her all the time.
Mm.
I have a huge library. And then, Audible came along and audiobooks, and we were constantly listening to books. If my children were playing, they were listening to books. And so that is where it started. And then it transitioned into I want to be the biggest influence in my kid's life.
I like that.
Well, the great part is that I am. The bad part is that I can't blame anybody else. I can't say it was the school's fault or the teacher's fault or another student's fault. It's all me. It's my fault, my problem. And that was a big thing for me that I had to start growing
Mm.
because I heard from another homeschool mom, your kids will start coming to you as they get older and they'll only go to dad because mom isn't growing. You have to start growing yourself. And so that began my journey of personal growth. And as that happened and I started spending more time with God and I started learning more about God, I'm like, okay, we need to shift gears. And so my kids have a solid foundation of a relationship with God.
Mm.
And so now all of the other things, my kids can read, they can add, subtract, they can do all the things that you need to do to function in life. But it's more important now for my kids with having a relationship with God and having a relationship with each other and to teach them how to learn instead of teaching them what to learn.
Mm.
And so I don't homeschool the same way a lot of people do. I have a curriculum. We do it all. We do online curriculum as well. I mean, all 3 of my youngest ones were reading by the age of 3 due to an app that we use.
Oh wow.
It's $35 a year. It's called Starfall. It goes all the way up through 1st grade. It is amazing. They yeah, they were whipping through
Reading
everything.
by the age of 3.
Yeah.
Wow.
Because at 2, we would hand them the app. I'm working with the older ones. I need them to be occupied and not destroying the house. And so I would hand them their little Amazon Kindle with the app on it, and they would just sit there and they would play on the app, and the other ones would do their schoolwork. And the other thing that happened is that the younger ones being in the same room, in the same environment with the older ones, they started picking up on what the older ones were doing.
Mm-hmm.
And so it creates kind of this one-room schoolhouse effect. And it became something really neat and beautiful to
Well,
watch. So it transitioned, it went from my kids aren't growing on medication, I will be the one to take care of them, to I am discipling my children and putting in their education as part of that discipleship. Like Deuteronomy 6:6-9 it's there's scripture all over my house. It is if you ask me why I homeschool, it's Deuteronomy 6 verses 6-9. That's exactly why I do it. When you rise up and when you lie down and when you're walking along the way, okay, we all drive cars or take a taxi or whatever. When you sit down to eat, that's just the way it is. That is our life. Homeschooling is our lifestyle, not a little thing that gets done over here.
so I guess as the older ones grow older, do they help to teach the younger ones?
Yes. In fact, my number 4 was doing a writing curriculum, and instead of me correcting him, I gave it to my oldest two who had completed the writing curriculum, who are writers themselves. And so they got to do a collaborative writing
I
with
know.
him, and it helped them with their writing and it helped him with his writing. And he's like, I hate writing, I don't see a purpose in it. And because he wants to be in computer science, and my husband said, you're going to have to write emails, and nothing makes you look sillier than a poor written email. So having them work together with them, I don't do a lot of cooking in my house. Okay. My oldest four, well, my number three has brain damage due to a surgery that he had as a baby. But my other three, they do the majority of the cooking. I don't even make my own breakfast. My number four makes my breakfast for me and delivers it to me. My 10-year-old is learning how to cook. My youngest two, my 8 and 6-year-old, they haven't learned yet. But look, by the time you graduate from my house, my kids have taken the Dave Ramsey course, so they know how to budget. They know how to clean every room in the house. They know how to read a recipe. They have their own specialties that they do. And they know how to menu plan and grocery shop and live frugally and how to pay the bills.
Wow.
Those life skills are important.
Wow. That's amazing. That's amazing. And do you know what? I absolutely love the level of intentionality in your parenting. And that's amazing to see, because obviously, like when you send your child to school, you're not necessarily in control of what they're learning.
Right.
But the fact that you're homeschooling, you're like, yeah, you're literally like in control of it, and you're adding the other things that they need to help them be better prepared for life outside.
So I'm going to answer a few of the questions that I know are going to come. The
Mm-hmm.
first one is people are going to say, what about socialization? Well, when I went to school, if you were talking, the teacher would tell you to be quiet. You're not here to socialize.
Okay, okay, okay.
There are 7 kids, a variety of personalities, and learn to deal with a lot. But as a homeschooler, we also find other ways. We have co-ops. We have other things where our kids meet other children.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Somebody is going to ask about how can you teach things that you don't know? That's easy. I find somebody who does know. My husband is an engineer, which means he has a minor in math and science. I don't have to worry about math and science all through high school. He can take care of it. That writing curriculum I told you about, there is a video program and he's got connections and he can ask questions. I don't have to be knowledgeable about everything. I find somebody else who is. And some moms will swap things.
Mm-hmm.
There's a mom who's really good with this and a mom who's really good with it. We swap and we work together to get the job done.
I like.
Um, and the last thing, you were asking, how do I get a break? Well, I get up early in the morning. I wake up usually about 5:30. That's
Mm-hmm.
if I've been allowed to sleep the night before. Um, and that's my time with God. And I will fight you for that time with God. That is, I tell my kids if they come in and interrupt me, it's like, look, you either let me have my time with God or I have no idea what kind of person I'm going to be. So if you want me to be a nice person, then you need to let me have time with God. And what I mean by that is that is me filling myself up. Think about it this way. You're a teacup and somebody's pouring loose leaf tea into there. It's better for that teacup to overflow onto everybody
Mm-hmm.
than to have nothing left except the dregs, and that's all your family gets, and nobody wants the dregs of their tea.
Mm.
That's when even you British people put your teacup down because you're not drinking the tea leaves. That's the kind of thing that I've been very aware of, is that if I don't take time for myself to fill myself up, then my
Mm-hmm.
kids are going to get the dregs. And I have to be intentional about what I fill myself up with, because if I don't, Satan will fill me up.
Mm. Mm.
So I make time for myself in the morning. Um, my kids socialize with other kids, and I get help when I don't know, because I can't do it all. And
Wow.
if you say you have to have a teaching degree, well, my sister has a degree in education. And she said her degree in education did not prepare her for homeschooling her girls. So she messages me a lot, and sometimes we'll go back and forth and get into Messenger and hold that microphone button down going, ah! Okay, thank you. Just having that moment of releasing the tension.
Mm-hmm. No, I like that, and it's so amazing to see. Honestly, I celebrate you. I celebrate you because the number of parents who struggled like during the pandemic when schools were shut. I don't know what it was like in America, but here in the UK, when schools closed and parents had to help their kids at home, it was a real struggle.
It is hard. I'm not
Mhm.
going to say it's not hard. And there are days when I'm sitting with a cup of tea in the morning and the big yellow bus goes by my house, and I'm like, my life would be a whole lot easier if that bus would stop. And I will tell you, when I have struggled with my kids just being smart, like, I don't know where they get that from because I'm not.
Hmm.
Hmm. I have had them get dressed in the morning and stand outside in the cold waiting for the bus to go by. I wait until wintertime when it's cold, and they stand outside in the winter waiting for that bus. And so the bus comes by my house at like 6:30 in the morning, which means they have to be up by 5:30 because they got to have breakfast and they got to get dressed and they got to get everything pulled. And so, yeah, I'm like, if you want to go ride the bus, you go right ahead. No, Mom, I'm sorry. But the other kids on the street are doing the same. That's what the kids are doing. And I've had times where, they complain about how much schoolwork they have to do. And I said, okay, so we're going to do a public school rendition of this. And they have to sit at the table all day long. That's what they do. When you go to public school, you're sitting you get up, you go to the restroom, you have lunch, those kinds of things. But those kids are sitting there all day long. And the teacher has to do that because she has to contain some semblance of control because otherwise it's chaos. And it's not that it's a punishment, it's just a reality check if this is what it is.
Mhm.
And I'm going to tell you something. Even though I've homeschooled the entire time, teachers do not get paid enough to do what they do.
Mm. Mm.
And parents do not take responsibility for their children like they should. And I don't know about in the UK, but here in the US, teachers are teaching to a test.
Wow.
And so it is hard. I do not envy them. And I have told them, and I will say it again, I would not do your job. There is no way. Because at least with my own kids, I can do something about it. With somebody else's kids, I can't do things about it. And it's a hard thing. And I think the worst part about it is that the people don't see the value.
Mm.
We have professional athletes being paid millions of dollars. And I'm like, fine, if you want to pay them that, fine. But the people who are truly shaping what our world is going to become are being paid pittance. When I volunteer at the food bank, and every time there is somebody who is either in the medical field or a teacher who comes to the food bank to get food to feed their family because they don't make enough money, my blood boils and I want to just scream
Mm.
because these are the people who are doing the things that make the world move and are better.
Mm. Hi, Clarice. Thanks for joining us. Thanks for joining the conversation today. So, Samantha, tell us a bit about. So, we've talked about your parenting, your expertise in parenting, your PhD, should I say, in parenting, and we've also talked a bit about homeschooling.
Mm-hmm.
So, you run an organization called Well Led Parenting. Do you want to tell us a bit about that?
Well, pretty proud of my logo. My daughter designed it. She's an amazing natural talent graphic artist. But in the well, there is actually scripture. And what
Mm-hmm.
the well represents is Jacob's well, where Jesus met the Samaritan woman.
Okay.
Now, there's a couple of interesting things about that. In that time, Samaritans were not the type of people that Jewish people messed with. They're like, yeah. But Jesus spoke to her. And then this Samaritan woman went out, told people about Jesus, and brought them back to him.
Mm.
Now, there are many influential people out there, but Jesus chose her. This woman who has had many men in her life, which I'm not saying I have not, but many influences and I will say idols.
Mm.
Because you and I have talked about that recently, that a fear that is more important, your fear is more important than what God says, that is an idol.
Mm-hmm.
And so I am that Samaritan woman that's coming back to the well. And as Paul says, follow me as I follow Christ. Well, that well, Jesus said, is living water, that you'll never be thirsty.
Mm.
So with that premise, what I'm doing is I'm helping parents connect to their kids.
Okay.
I have had 2 of my children contemplate suicide.
Mm.
And I have had one of them actually have a plan.
Wow.
And once I found out, I'm like, oh no, this is not happening. I am not doing that. And everything in my life stopped.
Mm.
And I focused on helping my children get reconnected to God and me reconnecting to my children. I learned to like K-pop music because my daughter loves K-pop. I learned to re-like Dungeons and Dragons because I played it as a kid. My oldest son loves to play it. I play video games with all the things that I was like, why should I have to do this? I learned to reconnect to them.
Mm.
And those children who still have a hard time will come and they will tell me, Mom, I'm struggling. This is what the lies that I'm hearing. How do I deal with this? Because I stopped and said, this is the most important thing.
Mm.
So I help parents reconnect to their kids. I did the Strengths Finders test, and my number 1 strength is connection. My number 2 is strategic thinking. I am very good at listening and figuring out where things connect and how to make things work in ways that people would not have put together on their own. And so once I get parents to connect to their kids, I also, from a different perspective, help the parent get connected to Jesus. Because as I mentioned, that law of the lid. See, here's the thing that most parents don't realize. Your children can only grow as far as you.
Mm-hmm.
And they
Absolutely.
have to leave you to keep growing, which we want that eventually. Okay. Nobody wants our child living with us forever. But there are 2 ways this can happen. This can either be they can step out from the side of you and can grow,
Mm-hmm.
or they hit that wall and they break it, and they break you, and they break your relationship.
Wow.
And so you have a choice. I'm going to raise my lid and my kids are going to step out and grow, and they're going to stand on my shoulders, or they're going to be breaking through that wall, and they're going to hate you. They're going to resent you. And any kind of relationship you've tried to create between them and Jesus, they're going to have to rebuild on their own without you.
Mm.
And the hard part, and I know you and I have talked about this, about me being bold. Here is the reality. You're going to get to the end of your life and you have 2 options. Your kids are going to be crying because they're losing a mentor in their life. Or your kids are going to be like Steve Jobs' kids, where they're waiting for that man to die so they can get his money.
Wow.
He wrote a book to tell his children about his life, and his daughter has said he is the worst father ever. She hates him. What do you want at the end of your life? Do you want your children to be sad because you were so important to them, and they are going to miss the love and the mentorship and the connection they had with you? Or are they going to be saying, thank God, and literally stomp on your grave? I've seen it. I've heard about it, where children are, their parent is buried and they come back and they just stomp on the grave.
Wow.
If you do not raise your lid, if you do not connect to your children, that's where you're going to be at the end of your life. So it comes down to, what do you want? Are you willing to put in the work? It's hard. It's hard. I'm not saying it's easy. I'm right there with you. I'm in the trenches. There are days where I cry myself to sleep.
Mm.
But that is important to me. And my legacy, because that's the other thing you need to realize. If you choose the side of growth, then you're not just affecting your children, you're affecting who they marry, you're affecting your grandchildren, your great grandchildren. What do you want them to know about you when you're gone?
Mm.
What do you want people to say about, what do you want your children to say about you at your funeral? What do you want people to know? And
Build
if
with
it's
legacy in mind.
so that's what well-led parenting does.
Wow. Wow. So in well-led parenting, do you offer coaching? Do you run workshops?
Well, right now I haven't announced this yet, so this will be the first place it gets announced. For the month of September, I am going to be offering 1 month of free, where you get weekly one-on-one coaching with me. There is a Bible study we work through. There is get a devotional book. There's a book that we read through. There's a lot of different parts of this package, and for 1 month, you're going to get that for free. And what we're talking about, and that people throw this around, we're going to talk about gratitude. But not only am I going to teach you the importance of gratitude and how gratitude works, but I'm going to teach you how to teach your kids gratitude. Gratitude is the foundation of everything you do. Have you ever given your child a gift at Christmas time and they open it and they throw it to the side to open the next gift? Or have you ever had a child like, why can't I have that? Entitlement, or I deserve that, or just this lack of gratitude. We're going to teach, I'm going to teach you how to practice gratitude in a way that when the hard days come, you can have joy, and you can teach this to your kids. And so, or I'm taking applications. I have 10 spots because I have somebody gave a scholarship. And so I have 10 scholarships available for the first month for 10 people who can come in. You're going to get the group coaching. You're going to get some one-on-one time with me, and we're going to work through this process.
Mm-hmm.
And then the group coaching can continue. There's a fee with that, but I've had 3 other people reach out to me to offer scholarships for women for the next few months to help them get going in this.
Wow. Wow. That's amazing. That's amazing. So, um, thank you to everyone that's joining us. Pauline, there is volume, so just check on your end to see what's happening with the volume there. But there is volume. I've just double checked it on this end. So for those that are just joining us, I'm just having a live conversation, just very candid conversation with Samantha. Samantha has 7 children. She is an amazing mother. She's a wife. She's a coach. She does loads of things. She wears loads of different hats. But she just spoke to us about well-led parenting, which is her organization. And Samantha is going to be running this program. So if you're a parent who's out there and you're just wondering, like, I'm at this place, what do I do with my kids? Sign up. Get in touch with Samantha, because she has a wealth of experience. Samantha has homeschooled all her kids. She is homeschooling, like literally that's her life, and so it's not just, sometimes we teach based on theory, but Samantha doesn't teach based on theory. Samantha teaches and coaches based on life she is living. Literally, she is living it. Now, Samantha, you mentioned a few minutes ago that two of your kids thought about suicide, and
Yes.
one actually had a plan. Speak to a parent out there who might be struggling with a child where there's a bit of disconnect, and the child is going through some mental health challenges, speak to that parent. What can they do?
Take the deep breath. Like I told you, take the deep breath. This is hard, and I've got chills. This is a hard place, and I'm gonna go into some deep waters with you. And if you don't want to go to the deep waters, that's okay, because we all have to be ready for it. The first thing I'm gonna tell you is this: if your family doesn't have your self-worth grounded in truth, and what I mean by truth is not your truth, which is your perspective. I'm talking about the truth of God. You're going to struggle,
Mm,
because there are people out there who are just nasty and who are mean. The abuse is horrible. The bullying is horrible. There are countries in this world that have laws against bullying, that you can go to jail and you can be fined for bullying somebody online because it's that bad. So that's the hard place that I'm gonna tell you, is if you do not have that, it is going to be hard. It's not that it can't be created. We can do that, and I can help you do that. And I will be more than happy to help you do that, and I've done that. But you're going to have to put your feelings aside and dive into them, into their place.
mm,
And it may be sitting next to them while they're playing a video game and not saying a word, just letting them be. It could be, I tell parents all the time, take your child out on a date. I had a lady that I was working with, and her son and she were struggling, and I said, go take the boy to Chick-fil-A and go get ice cream. And she did, and she took a picture and she sent it to me, and it changed their relationship just the one time. Spend time with that child, be intentional. And there are times where those kids need me, and I will drop whatever I'm doing. I will drop whatever I'm doing, and I will give them my attention. And even if that means picking up that child, leaving the house and leaving the others behind with my husband or some of the other kids who are older. Do not leave my little ones at home. The house may not be here by the time the two boys are done. Yeah, they're 8 and 6. I'm just, if you know, you know. Um, and I think that the most important thing is that your thoughts, your feelings, and your perspective don't matter. Okay.
ouch.
Um, we live in a different world than what I grew up in. I grew up before the internet was a thing. None of my stupid is on the internet. I didn't have internet bullies. I mean, when I left school, I could get away from the bullies. These kids can't.
Mm,
They can't. And so my perspective, it doesn't change things. The things that my kids deal with, it wasn't a thing. And so my feelings are just feelings. I love what Dr. Tony Evans says. Your feelings are the caboose of your train, and your brain is the engine. The caboose can either get in line or drop off because we're going this direction.
mm,
So I have to pull myself in, and I have to work on myself, raising that lid. Um, and don't be afraid to get outside help.
mm,
Don't be afraid to get outside help. And when they do, if they come back at you and tell you, you did this to me, you hurt me, do not give an excuse for your behavior. You say, I am sorry, and I am going to actively try to change that.
mm,
Because I've had my kids come back at me and say some really hard things that I didn't want to hear, I didn't want to face, I didn't want to deal with. But their healing was more important than me and my feelings. And so I have to give them space
mm,
to grow, and for them space to, we talked a little bit about this, having my children disagree with me, I have this rule. You can disagree with me, but don't be disrespectful. Don't be calling me names. Don't be screaming at me. Don't physically threaten me. And I thought it was just, a thing that I did. But then when I started in the Maxwell team and I realized, oh, these are good people skills. Oh, okay. I'm just teaching them how to be good human beings. It became an opportunity of growth for them.
Mm.
And it's not perfect. Those two still have dark days. And in the past 20 minutes, I've had 3 more messages from those two. One of them was, I see you going live. And the other one was, my boss saw you live on Facebook. They give me their ups, they give me their downs, they give me their everything in between. And then one day, you're going to go on a trip with one of those kids, and they're going to say, hey, Mom, let's go to the photo booth.
Mm.
And they want to make sure 2 of them are printed, one for you and one for them. And it goes on their vision board so they can see it every day to remember that they're loved. It is possible to go from a dark place to a place of light. Now, I'm going to give a caveat.
Mm-hmm.
If there is a chemical imbalance, if they're dealing with other things that are outside of your control, they need to get the help. You can't, if there is a chemical imbalance and they need antidepressants or they have some other mental illness, they need help. And that is out of your control. You cannot fix that on your own. So go get help. I'm going to tell you, go get help. If your child needs help and you don't go get it, then you are responsible for what's happening to your child. I don't care if it hurts your pride that I did better. No, you didn't. You're human. That's why you need Jesus, people. Go get the help your child needs, even if it hurts your pride, even if it hurts your bank account and you have to get a second job just to pay for it. Go get the help they need. And go get the help you need, whether it's going to see a therapist yourself, hiring yourself a life coach, hiring whatever you need to be able to do what needs to be done. That is your responsibility as a parent. And especially your responsibility as a Christian parent. Because at the day of judgment, God's going to look at you and say, why didn't you take care of what I gave you to do?
Wow. Wow. Thank you so much, Samantha. So, Samantha, if people want to connect with you, where can they find you?
Well, you can find me on Facebook. I'm on my Facebook page every day. Thank you, Elizabeth. And my Instagram every day. Not on TikTok yet, but we will get to there. But that is the best way to find me and to reach out to me personally and quickly. Even my family knows don't call me because I very seldom answer my phone. But I have my phone with me, so texting me, messaging me is the best way to get a hold of me. And, even if you're like, I don't have the money, I can't do this right now. Reach out to me. We'll get you on my calendar and we'll just have a talk. We will have a talk because there is no reason that money should keep a parent from doing what's best for their child, which is why I am so excited about the scholarships for September. And I just got a note there's going to be scholarships to cover October for 10 women. I said 10 and 2 places have already been taken. It's like, boom, I want it. Boom, I want it. So there's only 8 spots left for the group. I don't know if I call it coaching. I'm going to call it more of a life group because we're going to be doing life together, people. That's what we're doing. We moms are doing life together. I am your motherhood mentor. And I'm going to scoop you up and maybe hand you a cup of coffee, go tell you to take a nap, and it'll be better in the morning, just like God told Elijah. Take a divine nap, people.
Right, thank you so much. Samantha, there's another hat that you wear that we haven't really talked about. A recent hat. So you are president for your local Kiwanis Club. Do you want to tell us a little bit about that? in the last few minutes?
Kiwanis is about kids. That's it. It is all about kids. We have leadership programs in the schools, but one of my favorite programs is called BUG, and which stands for Bring Up Grades. And I found out from my sponsor club, and this just breaks me, that the Department of Justice decides how many prison cells they need based on how many kids fail third grade. And it's like a 98% accuracy.
Wow.
And so the program is specifically for third graders to encourage them to bring up their grades, and we have parties for them, and it's a lot of fun. We also have a program called Terrific Kids, and my state, Indiana, is directly attached to the Riley's Children's Hospital, and their focus is on mental health. Now, I can only speak for statistics here in the US, but the second leading cause of death for kids and teens is suicide.
The
And
second.
second, the first one is accidents. The second leading cause of death is suicide. Accidents could be like falling in a pool, falling off a ladder, all kinds of things. But the second leading cause of death for kids and teens is suicide. And so for the next 4 years, we're focusing on suicide prevention. So we're focusing on bullying. We're focusing on all the things that I'm like living in this world of, it's just a US problem. The more people you meet around the world, the more you realize it's a world problem. So I've had people say, how does that fit in your business? Because it's about kids. Because these kids, while my kids aren't in the public school system, these kids right here are the kids that my kids are going to live with in the future. And if I can help make them healthy, if I can help fill in the cracks and love on them, then that's exactly what I'm going to do. And Kiwanis is an international thing. It's not just a US thing. There are clubs all over the world. So wherever you are in the world, look up Kiwanis and see if there is one in your area. And if not, get it started, because those kids need you to show up. Kids need Kiwanis, and Kiwanis needs people.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you. Thank you very much, Samantha. So finally, you are on the Show Up and Shine Social Media Visibility Challenge. How has that been for you? And what are you looking forward to in the month of August?
Well, I was pretty consistent about showing up beforehand. And it just made me show up on days when I didn't feel like it, because I was not about to tell you that I wasn't showing up. I'm gonna throw something out here. It's a joke. It runs between Elizabeth and I, but we have known each other for a while, and she was doing a mastermind for the John Maxwell team of put your dream to the test. And I told her, I said, I come here so you can tell me that this dream on my heart isn't from God and it's not a real thing. And she's like, yeah, that's not going to happen. And Elizabeth has pushed me to do the things that I don't want to do. And so I've downloaded TikTok, and I am in talks with my sister about starting our own talk show for women and for parents, because she and I are 17 years apart. So there's two different generations. She has 2 kids, 2 girls, and I have 7, and she has kids with special needs, and so do I. And we're going to come together from a broad spectrum talking about women who change the world and well-led parenting. And we're planning on having guests come on and just make this a big thing for Christian women. We're very specific. We're laying ground rules of these are things that we're talking about, and this is where we're going. And so my goal is to have that going by the end of the month. But like we've said, I have a lot of hats. Yeah, see, I shouldn't tell her things because she'll come after me. So my goal for August is to get TikTok going, keep doing what I'm doing, and get things ready to launch in September for the opening of my program, which the 3rd spot just got taken. 7 left, people. There are 7 left.
I love that. I love that.
There's 7 left. And I'm only taking 10 because I want to be able to give each person the time they deserve. So.
Awesome. So for everyone that has joined us, if you're watching the replay, please feel free to, comment, or if you've got a question for Samantha, you can put the question there as well. She can pick it up at some point. or I will send the question to her and she'll respond to you directly. But if you want to find out more about what Samantha is doing, you can find her on Instagram, Well Led Parenting, or just search her name on Facebook, and you will be able to find her and connect with her. Honestly, I've known Samantha now for quite a bit now. You know, initially we had a conversation about a podcast. We did a podcast interview, and that's how our connection started. And now more than a year down the road, we're here having these conversations about showing up on social media. But I'm really really excited, and I've seen Samantha grow so much just in the time I've known her, and I'm so amazed by that. And what I love about you, Samantha, is that your growth is evident. Like, it's not hidden, it's evident. And even when I speak to you, I can tell, like, I can tell the difference that it's making. So that for me is really amazing. And like, you're such an action taker. You don't just talk about things, you go and do. And you're very passionate. The things that are burdens on your heart, you're really passionate about them. There's something else that we didn't talk about that Samantha has very close to her heart, and that's to do with her non-profit. I don't know if we have time to talk about that a little bit, Samantha, or should we just leave that for another time?
We can do whatever you want to do. I am free right now. I did have a question popped up in private message, so I'm going to answer that. Somebody asked about the age of my kids. So I have a 25 and almost 24-year-old. I have a 19-year-old who emotionally is about a 6-year-old. My mother-in-law passed away in 2019, and he thinks we can go dig her up and put her back together like Legos and she'll be fine. So very severely dealing with that. I have one who will turn 18 on the 14th, and then I have a 10, 8, and 6-year-old. So I have adults, I have teens, and I have elementary kids. So, I'm not a grandma yet, not in a hurry, but I have a wide spectrum of children and a wide spectrum of personalities and a wide spectrum of issues.
Mm.
And I will tell you, I am not afraid to say, I don't know. And in the past year, last year was hard because I had COVID 5 times, but God gave me connections in amazing ways. And I have connections with people who have PhDs in childhood development. And I'm like, okay, I have this question and they're going to answer me. And so if I don't know, I'm going to be talking to people to get the answer to the question. And I'm gonna throw this other thing here, and we can talk about the other if you want. But there is something very powerful about you that I feel, Elizabeth, when I am in your presence. It's not peace. It is, I feel direction. I feel that no matter how much I want to run away from what I am called to do, that you're going to be, oh no, you're not. Oh no, you're not. And you're going to call me out and you're going to call me forward. And you remind me that I am made for such a time as this. And like I said, I'm part of the John Maxwell team, and not everybody, you think, oh, we're all the same. We're not. There are a lot of other people that I know, but nobody does for me what you do. And so whatever you're doing, I'm signing up for. I'm signing up for, because I know that you're going in the same direction. And here's the other thing. She has such a beautiful heart and wants to give. And I reminded her in a call the other day that she's an example for her daughter too. She's like, yeah. So not only is she leading the pack, but she's also growing herself into being someone I am so thankful and blessed to call friend. Even though we've never met in person.
I'm sending you a virtual hug, Samantha.
Oh, and here's a public announcement. I'm going to go pick up my birth certificate tomorrow. And when I do, that means I can go get my passport, and you better be waiting, girl, because you are on my bucket list.
Oh my days! The first time we had a conversation, that was your action point.
They had my mom is a twin sister, and they had my mom's twin sister's birth certificate correct, and my mom's correct, but my mom on mine it was wrong, and I can't get a passport if that's wrong. So finally got it all fixed. Thank you, God. It's all fixed, and I can just go pick it up. Huh.
Right.
So
Awesome, awesome.
if you want to talk about the MPO, we can, or we can do that another time.
We'll do that another time so that we can just like have time for that conversation. Yeah, because
Sounds
that's a
good.
lot. There's a lot there. I don't want to just like hit on it a little. I want us to go in properly. So we can have a conversation about that at another time.
Okay.
Pauline, thanks for the compliment. But
You got it.
honestly, if you're joining us, like connect with Samantha, especially if you're a parent, and you want to be equipped, you want to learn how to like reconnect with your kids, like connect with Samantha. If you run a group for women, for parents, connect with Samantha. She's amazing. She's amazing. I can't say that enough. And if you would like to join the Show Up and Shine Social Media Visibility Challenge, we just started the month of August. So it's only day 2. There is time. You can join. You can literally sign up like right now, and you will get access to the group, and you can be part of this community of women who are showing up and shining and growing their visibility, and they're being consistent, and they're making impact, because we are made for such a time. We are made for such a time, and everything that is on the inside of us, it must come out. It must come out. Literally, the things that God has put in our hands to do, we're doing it. We're doing it. We're not taking a back seat anymore.
Nope.
We're on the forefront. We are world changers, right, Samantha? We're women who change the world.
There are people on the other waiting for us on the other side of our obedience.
That's it. So, Samantha, thank you very much for your time this evening. Indeed, I should say thank you to the amazing 7 kids whom I have stolen you from for just over an hour.
They were swimming in the pool.
Oh, okay, as you do. But thank you so much for your time, and yes, we will catch up. And thank you to everyone that joined us this evening. Please help us share this video, let other people see it. If you know a parent who's struggling, send them the video. Send them the video, because like I said, Samantha is not just talk. 7 kids, all with different skills, abilities, all neurotype, but as in, like, I just have one, and I know what that's like.
I told you, no, just one. Somebody just sent me a message and asked a question of, how do I know you're not going to judge me? I base judging parents on 3 things. 1, if your child's covered in bruises, either your child needs some help or we need to talk. 2, if your house is covered in animal feces and you refuse to clean it up or let me help you clean it up, we get a problem. And 3, if your kids are eating store-bought cereal all the time, I want to know how you're making so much money, because that's expensive. So other than that, nope, not going to judge you. Parenting is hard. So I will. Hello, beautiful.
The child decided to pop in. Okay, say hello.
At least she's dressed. There was that British guy whose child came in a diaper.
No, she is dressed, so that's good. That's good. So right, everyone, have Samantha, enjoy the rest of your day, because it's what, 4:00 now.
Mm-hmm.
Enjoy the rest of your day, and anyone else out there, please like share it, get in touch with us, follow Samantha on social media. She posts some amazing stuff, so please follow her. We love you all. God bless you.